Top 10 Queen Elizabeth red flags the public should have seen. Let's start off with number 10, her daughter-in-law, Princess Diana. The top secret revealed by Diana was back in '95 when the princess agreed to sit down with BBC's Martin Bashir for an exclusive interview. In the interview, Diana opened up about her marriage to Charles and her experiences with the royal family and admitted that she also had an affair during her marriage. She revealed that Charles's long affair with Camilla made her feel worthless. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. Iconic. Diana did not care and exposed Charles pretty badly with that. Now, if you know anything about the royal family, you know how much they value their privacy, so Diana going out and spilling the beans, not a great look for her, but the public loved it. She said that she suspected Charles's staff was waging a campaign against her. In addition to her revelations about the royals, Diana also spoke about her struggles with bulimia, postpartum depression, and self-harm. It's always sad to talk about how much the charismatic and charming princess was suffering. Hopefully the newer royals have access to more resources to help with their well-being, as should everyone. After the interview aired, Queen Elizabeth wrote to the couple, who at that point had been separated since '92, and told them to proceed with their divorce. In the years following the release of the interview, it's been alleged that Diana was shown fake bank statements that they claimed were proof that the media had been paying the royal family for information about Diana in order to convince her to tell her side of the story in the interview. While a '96 investigation proved inconclusive, in 2021 the BBC revealed that they found interviewer Martin Bashir had acted in a deceitful way to ensure the interview would happen. The BBC returned all awards the interview special won, formally apologized for their actions, and vowed to never air the footage again. I mean, as they should. That was a snake move on their part, but drama between the royals and the media is pretty entertaining for the general public. Anyway, 9, Charles's relationship problems. We all know that the relationship between the late Princess Diana and Prince Charles was no secret, so when Queen Elizabeth gave them the green light to go ahead with the divorce, it was big news. And when the news about them breaking up finally went public, many people became interested in them as individuals and as a failed marriage. Number 8, personal funds. Far from opening the royal family's wealth, inherited or otherwise, to scrutiny, astonishingly there appears to be no study of this topic. The Queen successfully lobbied the government to change a draft law in order to conceal her embarrassing private wealth from the public. The Queen was also given a personal exemption from having her private estate searched for stolen or looted artifacts, and her household remained exempt from laws that can ban race and sex discrimination. Although it is speculated that her personal wealth amounts to hundreds of millions of pounds, the exact amount is still unknown. The wealth is not all simply historical. It is instructive that the British monarchy gives itself the business name The Firm. Despite all the patriotic songs, it has offshore investments that don't pay taxes like many other global corporations do. Additionally, Charles's mother's inheritance will not be subject to inheritance tax. The most crucial aspect of understanding the British monarchy and the Queen, who recently sat on its throne, is the politics of enormous wealth. Percy Shelley, a poet, once said that the monarchy and the royal family serve as only the string that ties the robber's bundle. Their ultimate purpose is to emphasize the rich and powerful's right to make decisions. The Queen was one of the largest private landowners in the nation, continuing the earliest forms of feudalism. For the British monarchy, which sprinkles generous doses of charity in the populace while sitting comfortably at the interface of old wealth. Number 7, Princess Anne. The princess's first husband had another child outside their marriage. Again, a big no-no in the royals. From November 1973 to April 1992, Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Princess Anne, was married to Mark Phillips. The couple had 2 children together, Peter Phillips and Zara Tindall. However, it turns out that Mark has a second child outside of his marriage with Anne. He's said to be the father of a daughter named Felicity, who now lives in New Zealand, but reportedly grew up on the 700-acre estate with Zara and Peter. In the 1990s, Heather Tonkin, her mother, attempted to have Mark claim paternity. My ambition is to get Mark's public acceptance of her and to be able to enter his name on her birth certificate, she stated in a newspaper interview. He declined, but he was simultaneously paying her £6,000 per year for 5 years. Number 6, Prince Philip. After the husband of Queen Elizabeth passed away, his legacy is marred by decades of off-the-cuff, problematic, and racially charged remarks. The British monarchy's longest-serving consort has said things that are offensive on multiple occasions. The Duke, who wed the Queen in 1947, retired from public life in May 2017 at the age of 95, but his remarks that were racist, sexist, or degrading had been dismissed as gaffes for more than 40 years prior. When Philip went to China in 1986, he called Beijing ghastly. Additionally, he told British students, "You'll have slitty eyes if you stay here for too long." Philip made an offensive observation about Cantonese cuisine in the same year while giving a speech at a meeting of the World Wildlife Fund. He stated, "The Cantonese will eat it if it has 4 legs and is not a chair, if it has wings and is not an airplane, or if it swims and is not a submarine." Oh, Philip. He stated the following to a student who was traveling through Papua New Guinea in 1988, "So how did you avoid being eaten?" In 1994, he inquired of residents of the Cayman Islands as to whether the majority of them were descended from pirates, and in 2002, he posed the following question to a native leader in Queensland: "Do you still strike each other with spears?" No words, literally no words. Yeah, one of the biggest red flags of Queen Elizabeth is literally marrying someone as problematic as Prince Philip, but let's not even get into how problematic Queen Elizabeth is because I will definitely be destroyed from her supporters. On to number 5, King George V denied his cousin asylum. The story of Tsar Nicholas II and how he and his family passed away is well known to many. You might not be aware that the Queen's grandfather, King George V, is a cousin of Tsar Nicholas and that the two were said to be very close. Nicholas applied for asylum in Britain for himself and his family, but the king turned him down because he was concerned about the rising political tensions in his own country. Sadly, the Tsar, his family, and his wife all went missing. I wonder what happened to them. Number 4, hiding family members. While most of the royal family is on display like an art exhibit gone rogue, there have been moments throughout history where they try to hide away the regal members they don't deem adequate for the public eye. Red flag. Prince John was the youngest son of King George V, the Queen's grandfather. When he passed away at only 13 years old, we didn't hear anything about him again. The young boy reportedly had epilepsy, and the royal family used a familiar tactic to cope: hiding the child from public view. Royal biographer Christopher Wilson had documented that some family trees entirely leave out Prince John's name. If they feel they have somebody that isn't up to snuff, they want to write them out of the history books, which happened in Prince John's case. Wilson said, however, this wasn't the first time the royals had hidden away family for the sake of a public image. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Leon were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth. They were each born with mental impairments and were hidden away at the Royal Earlswood Institution for Mental Defectives at ages 22 and 15. Their family also reported the girls passed in 1961 to hide their existence from the public even further. Catherine and Queen Elizabeth were born in the same year, but because the family had little to no understanding of navigating mental impairments, they lived incredibly separate lives. Nerissa lived another 25 years after being initially labeled deceased, and Catherine only passed away in 2014. It's crazy to think about the people who are supposed to love you most abandoning you just for reputation. Number 3, affairs. Now this one, unfortunately, royal family cannot hide that well because these scandalous affairs were the talk of the town. The late Princess Diana and King Charles had a pretty rocky relationship, as we all know, and it was never hard to see the lack of chemistry and affection in the couple. Princess Diana was torn after finding about the long affair King Charles was having with Camilla, who is now Queen Consort, by the way. The extramarital affairs didn't even stop there. Diana confessed that she was also seeing other men during their rocky marriage, and since Charles had already admitted it to Diana that he was not in love with her, it seems the princess was gonna get love one way or another. The beloved future King Prince William has also been subject of speculation. Rose Hanbury, a friend of the family for a long time, was one of the alleged partners. According to reports, this took place while Kate was expecting Prince Louis, the couple's third child. Yikes. Rose, Kate's best friend, reportedly attempted to steal her man during all of this. It is common knowledge that Kate and Rose had a terrible argument, and an insider asserted they used to be close, but that is no longer the case. After the incident, Rose was removed from his social circle by Kate, and William made an effort to settle the situation between the two women. However, when British socialite and food critic Giles Corrin posted the following tweet, "Yes, it's a love affair. Although I have not read the piece, I am aware of the affair. Darling, everyone is aware of the affair." tweet was taken down as soon as it was posted because Corin has a history of causing trouble. Even though a number of royal experts have also denied the allegations over the years, the general public continues to be curious, especially considering that similar rumors first surfaced a few years prior. In 2017, it was reported that William had a romantic dance with two women in Switzerland. He was dancing so wildly that I did a double take when I first saw him and thought it must be a lookalike, said one club goer, but everyone soon found out they were having a party with Prince William. What are your thoughts? Do you think Will is not the loyal type? Let me know in the comments. Number 2, Camilla. According to King Charles's biographer who spoke with Newsweek's Royal Report podcast, Queen Elizabeth hated Camilla and only agreed to give her blessing for the royal to be known as Queen Consort because of an unspoken deal behind the scenes regarding Prince Andrew. The King, written by Christopher Anderson, is a new biography, and according to royal commentator Kristen Meinzer and Newsweek's chief royal correspondent Jack Royston, the life of Charles III, one of the new monarch's primary responsibilities, is to sell Britain on Camilla, his second wife after Princess Diana. Camilla, now Queen Consort, first met Charles in the 70s, and the two were in and out of relationships ever since. Charles admitted to adultery when his marriage became irrevocably broken down in 1981, when his marriage to Diana just began. Elizabeth's relationship with Camilla before she married Charles and then as a daughter-in-law has been widely speculated about. In the early years of Charles's relationship with her, the Queen reportedly regarded Camilla with caution. That grew to a total distance following Diana's passing, but the Queen began warming up to her toward the later years of her life. Sources say it took 8 years for Charles to finally convince everyone to accept Camilla as his wife, and to convince the Queen to allow him to marry Camilla. Finally, number 1, tax fraud. The family has been exposed numerous times and has been dealing with a number of issues, one of which is tax fraud. The late Queen was once exposed for concealing her embarrassing wealth from the public, which may or may not come as a surprise. It was alleged that Queen Elizabeth's private attorney pressed ministers to modify proposed legislation to prevent the public from learning about her shareholdings. Even though the Queen's actual holdings were never made public, we can only assume they were hundreds of millions of pounds. Invested at least $13.1 million into offshore tax-sheltered funds located in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, according to Newsweek. Party leaders and anti-monarchists investigated the Queen's finances, specifically her private funds, the Duchy of Lancaster, and discovered that the Queen is evading taxes on her $680 million duchy by $15 million. But that is all for today. Let me know how you feel about these scandals within the royal family and the red flags of the late Queen Elizabeth. Rest in peace. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.